Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We are EBS, your trusted technology partner for over 43 years. We specialize in the deployment of Sage Business Management and Microsoft solutions, managed services, and secure on-premises and cloud-based infrastructure. My name is Darren Tolley, and I am one of the account managers here at EBS. Following on from our webinar last month, where we looked at Phocas financial reporting, today we are joined by Daniel and Paul, who will take us through the analytical capabilities of the application. We are recording today's presentation and we'll make this available to you in the next few days. There are lots of recordings on our YouTube channel, including last month's Phocas financial reporting overview. Remember to hit subscribe to receive notifications when we load new videos, which we do quite often. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat, or there will be an opportunity at the end of the presentation in the Q&A session. Without further ado, I will pass you over to Daniel. Morning, Daniel.
Good morning. Thank you, Darren, for that lovely introduction, and thank you all for joining us this morning. Obviously, last month we showed you all our financial capability with our P&L, our budget and forecasting solutions. What we wanted to do today is extend that and show you where we came from, which is our analytics and business intelligence solutions, all as part of that one single platform. Let's run through the agenda first, though. So we're going to give you a bit of an overview of Phocas for those who didn't join us during last month's webinar. We'll just recover that one for you in this one. We're going to talk about how the data analytics can help you adapt and grow your business and how important they are, how they can consolidate the data into a single source of truth, how we can get insights into sales, stock purchasing and financial trends, and then how we can use it to increase communication with automated, interactive and up-to-date dashboard reports. So it's not just how we gain access to that data, but it's how we present it, how we make it really usable for you as a business to gain insights into your organization and make those actionable changes that will mean that you'll gain better results. So Phocas, we've been around for a little while now, and we have company-wide financial planning and analytics and reporting. So we span those three different solutions, which we covered off last time around our budget and forecasting and financial statements. But in the same solution, in the same platform, we have business analytics. It's a struggle for me to say that this morning. I don't know why. What that means is that we can pull data in from multiple different sources and multiple different ERPs. And today's focus is primarily on Sage. And knowing the EBS customer base, that primarily is on Sage 200. Now, we understand that your organizations will be using Sage predominantly for your financial reporting, which is why we focus on that last month. But there is lots of other data, lots of other systems that you're integrating in with your Sage 200 implementation, which are pulling through sales data, inventory, manufacturing, or whatever else it might be. So it's how we pull all that together and make it really usable and provide you with the insights that you need for your business. So how does that work? So as I said, today we're mainly focusing on Sage, but we do actually cover over 350 different ERP sources, and we've got 30 standards, which are growing as well in number. So it doesn't really matter where that data is coming from. We are data agnostic, and it can be pulled from multiple sources to create that single source of truth. And then what it does is it spans sales, purchasing, inventory, finance, and CRM analysis to really give you great insight on the Phocas UI and system. It can then be pulled through into the various different areas. So it doesn't matter whether you're wanting to look at your financial statements, budget and forecasting, and the impact of certain aspects within your organization, or then if you're looking at the CRM, and we have rebates functionality as well. And throughout all of that, everything is hosted on our secure cloud, all in AWS, fully supported by Rackspace, on a multi-tenant environment. And we do have multiple platform options available as part of that as well. So every organization understands they need greater insight into their data and what is the beating heartbeat of their business. But a lot of them struggle to then generate an output which actually provides them with that information to make those actionable insights. And where Phocas comes along is that we make it really simple and easy and intuitive for you to use. So we can pull all of that business intelligence data, allow you to slice and dice it, drill down and follow your train of thought into the areas that are causing your business either a problem or identifying areas for opportunities, and then pulling it together with the financials to enable you to be able to better plan moving forward. And then, of course, that feeds into the financial planning and analysis ongoing. And as mentioned previously, it doesn't matter where the data source is. We've got the ability to be able to connect those in and pull it through and create that single source of truth. And where we are particularly powerful is that we don't require, and you don't need somebody who's a particularly strong IT individual to be able to get the best out of our solution. If you've got a small amount of IT nous, as it were, you can have the ability to be able to pull through different data sources, present it in the way you wish it to be presented, and create dashboards which display that meaningful information for your particular organization. You don't have to go out and spend money every time to get somebody to develop this for you. What we want to do is really enable you to make the most of it and feel really good about the data that you've got. And we have regular training and lots of online tutorials to be able to enable you to do so. But as we go into the demonstration today, you'll see just how simple and easy it is for your average user to be able to go through and make a dashboard which presents the information they're looking to share with their colleagues. And we have three different layers. It's really good to cover off this structure at this early sort of stage. So we have a database designer, which is the number 3, and that allows you to be able to pull through the data, but also decide how it's ordered and the format and what sort of fields you're pulling through from that data source really quickly and easily. It's a click, drag and drop approach, but it's not where you're going to be spending your day to day. That's normally a 1 or 2 times a year setup, and every now and then when you want to tweak something or change something to get better results that you're looking to achieve. That then pulls through into our analysis layer, which is where we're going to be spending the majority of our time, because that's where you've got the greatest flexibility and equal insight into what's going on within your organization. That analysis layer, as we refer to the grid, gives you fantastic flexibility to be able to cut and copy and pivot data in a really easy and intuitive way. And you've got the ability as well then to follow your nose and drill down right to the underlying transaction to identify exactly what's going on in any area of your business. And then visualizations, number 2. Now, visualizations are available across any analytics tool, but what makes ours really simple and easy is that from the analysis layer, you can decide what data you're collecting and therefore presenting and in what format through the click of just a couple of buttons to be able to generate that. That can be added then to either a new or an existing dashboard, and that dashboard can be shared across the organization, which gives people quick and easy insight into what's going on and what they need to either review or address or what opportunities they've got to be able to expand. I've run through that relatively quickly today, but I'm really conscious that the best way of showing the solution is actually showing you the product itself. So I'm going to be handing over to Paul. Paul's going to be running through that. We will have time for the questions at the end of the session as well. And what we really like to do is sort of bring it to life in terms of you as a user of Sage 200 and how that's going to impact your operations. So hand over to Paul. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Thanks, Daniel. So yeah, how does Phocas work? How would a business like yourselves use our system to gain those insights from your data? So before we get into the actual demonstration, I just wanted to give you a bit of background, if you like, on how do we get the data in. So we capture either via a little Windows application that is installed on the server or via an API. We capture all of the data coming out of the ERP, in your case Sage, and it begins at the transactional level. So we capture all of the invoices, the orders, the purchase orders, the stock inventory additions, or whatever it may be. So they all contain a transaction, and then we group that or sort of attach that, if you like, with all of the associated tables within the system. So there's a customer table, there's a product table. We layer upon all of that information and then build databases with that. So you'll have a database showing sales by invoices, by orders. There's maybe a stock database where you're looking at things like what you have in stock right now, purchase order databases. So, we gather all of that data up. It's set on a schedule. So that's usually delivered overnight. So we receive the data in overnight, and then build out the databases so that when a person accesses that database or looks at a report that's been pre-saved, it contains up-to-date information as of the end of the previous day. So the data comes in, and then how do you use it? So what we're looking at right now is the middle layer of our product. I will go into dashboarding in a few moments' time and talk about how you turn a report into a widget that's then applied to a dashboard. But everyone's seen dashboards before. What really sets us apart is this middle layer called the Phocas grid. How it works effectively is consider this like a big pivot table, really, in a sense. What you're able to do is pivot things with this function bar across the top here. So these functions across the top and these dimensions down the left are effectively questions that you're asking of the data at any given time. So I'm currently asking a really simple question. The question I'm asking is, in this summary dimension, show me value from sales since the start of the year. I could pivot to a different metric, such as quantity of sales or quantity of items sold since the start of the year, or the profit we've gained since the start of the year. But right now, I'm looking at value from sales since January. But again, if I wanted to look at a different period, I could click one of these available periods that I have, or I could create my own custom period of time that I wanted to view the data across. So these act as pivots, and these dimensions act as grouping points. So we have value from sales year to date. This column shows the value per month. So 4.3 in Jan, currently just over 4 in June. And this column is a cumulative value of all of them added up, of course. And then you also, as you can see, you have previous and previous cumulative. Because we're able to take lots of historical data, most customers have 3 years plus current. So you're able to create variance analysis. And in this case, that's exactly what we're doing. So we're currently up this year compared to last year. We're up 3% currently as the month stands. But the main thing is we are achieving currently, since the start of the year, just under 27 million in sales. Now, if I want to group that by any of these dimensions, I just simply click on the dimension I'd like to start by. So in this case, I'm looking at a customer report. So this is all of my customers. This is the total sales value that each customer has achieved. And then this is the monthly sales value across the page. So all of these columns add up to this total. And then all of these numbers going up the page add up to the 26.9 that you see there. If you want to look at a different dimension, so you'd like a salesperson report, here's all of my salespeople. That's their sales this year, and this is their sales monthly. I've got some product groups within our demo environment. You probably have product groups within your systems as well. If I'd like a product group report, again, I just simply click on the product group dimension, or product class, actually, as it's known here. And then you've got your sales by product classes and then sales across the page per month. But what you may have already kind of figured out, or you may would like to know, is can you drill down from one dimension to another, and so on and so on and so on? And the answer to that is, of course, yes. So, and a quick example would be, in our demo environment, we have 3 different countries that we sell to, let's say. I just want to establish what is the performance of my UK only customers. So I select the UK element of this dimension, or the UK row, and I just move to customers. And now we've automatically applied that filter. And you can see now we're looking at a value of 8.7 million because that's what the UK customers have achieved. If I want to pick a customer, such as these ones here, and then I'm interested to know what products that particular customer has been buying, I just select them like I have and jump to the product group, or product class, sorry. And now we've got a product class report for that particular customer. I could select any of these classes, and then you can see we've got a subclass dimension. Jump to the subclasses, pick a class within here, and then go to products. And these are the products that that particular customer has purchased within these 2 product classes. And we can see that that customer is associated to the UK sales group. And as Daniel mentioned, and as I mentioned at the start, everything is transaction driven. So what that means is if you are interested in interrogating a particular value for a particular period or a month, you can do so. So for instance, we can see I've sold £4,850 worth of this particular product this year. If I wanted to look at the sales of that product and what we've achieved per month by transaction, I can find any particular number I want to do so, right click it. As you can see, it brings up a menu and we've got some options here, but one of the options, as you can see, is something called transactions. and it will take me to that order or that invoice. And I can go back to my system if I think there's a discrepancy. I can pick up that number and interrogate that system directly, from Sage. So that is really how the system works. There's a lot more we can talk about, and I will go into some of the other features in a moment. But just as a kind of a baseline, you use the functions across the top here to pivot to show a different measure or a different period, or to present the data coming from a different stream. So at the minute we're looking at sales invoices, but you can see we've got sales orders and so on. And then you group the result by these dimensions down the left. But we do have lots of other features, as you can imagine, and some of them are delivered by this drop down in the top left here, which is called modes. So there's lots of different modes of how you'd like to view the data. So at the minute we've just been presenting it as a period of time. But what about a variance report? Show me sales that have increased by customer from one period to the next. If I just jump to customers and then use this drop down and change the mode from period to variance, that is giving me instant access to that particular type of report. So now what we've got is a column to show sales total for this period, and then we're comparing to the same period but last year effectively. And then we've got a variance column, both as values and as percentages. And if I order the variance column by where we're winning, good news, let's say, but then I can also order it where there's bad news. So these are the customers that are down in sales value this year compared to last year. And just like we did before using that period mode, I have full capability to drill into subsequent dimensions to get further answers to certain questions. So it might be you want to establish why are this particular customer, Wintec, down £85,000 in spend in 2023 compared to where they were at this point in 2022. I can do so by clicking on them and then just simply jumping. In this case, I'm just going to go straight to products. So here's a list of products with sales values in 2022 compared to product sales values in 2023. So you can see here we've lost some sales. Now it may be that this particular customer has stopped selling those products potentially, or stopped needing them, or it may be that they're purchasing them elsewhere. So this is the way Phocas works, is it's not really necessarily a strict report writing tool. You can write reports and bookmark them, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But really what we're trying to do is create the ability, or give people the ability to kind of create ad hoc analysis. What Phocas is really good at is putting data in the hands of the people that need it. So salespeople, for instance, or purchasing managers, they're the people that get a lot of value out of a system like this, because they might want to know, okay, my sales have decreased. Why? What is it? What customers have stopped buying from me? What products have we stopped selling all of a sudden? And it just gives you, almost instant access to that information just at a few clicks of a button, like I did here. You can get insights within 30 seconds that previously, exporting to Excel and combining pivot tables may take, an hour or more in some scenarios. So yeah, we've got plenty of different modes. As you can see, there's a whole sort of swathe of them here, and I'll just talk about one other before we kind of get into some of the bits and bobs. But we can see here we've got something called total mode. And total mode is a really good way of bringing in multiple measures to a report at any one time. So at the minute, we've just been predominantly or almost exclusively looking at value of sales. But if I stay on the products here and jump to total mode, what that does is it takes away all the columns for each month and just presents that total column to me. But that lends itself to, as I say, bringing in multiple measures at any one time. So in this case, I'm interested in a product report that contains value of sales, quantity of sales, profit, and margin. And now what we can see here is exactly that. We have a list of products or SKUs, column for their value of sales, column for their quantity, profits, and margins. And you can order any of these columns by which it is you're most interested in. So I could order, instead of ordering by value, I could order by quantity, or I could order by profit or margin, whatever I want to do. And what you can now do is, in this scenario, what I'm interested in is looking at where there is a discrepancy across our salespersons in terms of the margin that maybe they're selling at. So a quick example might be, I'm going to pick a product here. Let's pick, not that one, let's pick this particular product. We can see that we've sold 168 of them since the start of the year at an average margin of 26.92%. If I select that product and then move to my salespeople, I can see all of the salespeople and how many of that product each salesperson has sold and at what margin. So we can see there are people here selling it at 31%. There are people selling it at 23%. There's someone, in fact, selling 5 of them at 11%. Again, you know, within a few clicks, I've got an insight into a particularly good selling product and a range of margins across it, and why are certain people selling that product at such low margin. You could apply the same thing. So I'm just going to stay on product and go to customer. Here's all of my customers. How many have they purchased? At what margin? So it's really, really easy to find out what's going on in terms of product sales. And of course, everything is exportable. So if you wanted to export it all, let me just reset that. Sorry, just bear with me a second. So I'm just going to stay on customer, and here again is a customer report. So you've got full export capability, as you can see here. So I could export to PDF or Excel or CSV or whatever it may be. I could also bookmark a report by clicking this menu in the top right corner here and clicking Save Favorite, which is just a way of, as I say, bookmarking a report for permanent access, so it always is available to me. And once you do that, you are in a position to share it to other people, so you can share it to other colleagues within the system. But you are also in a position to subscribe yourself to that report as well. So you can have that report delivered at a frequency of your choice. So, you know, every day at every Monday at 9 a.m. as a PDF. You can have that report delivered to your inbox. It will send it in that format, but also give you a hyperlink to access the report within Phocas. So if you also want to jump in and analyze that data further in Phocas, then you're in a position to do that. You can also, of course, turn any of these reports into visualized widgets. There's plenty of options around this. So for instance, if I wanted to look at, let's apply a filter of the UK again on my country dimension and go to my salespeople. Here's all my UK-based salespeople. If I now want to look at that particular report presented as a pie chart, I just go from grid view to chart view, and then I've got a list of charts that are available to me. And one of the ones I want to look at in this case is a pie chart. And now we've got my UK salespeople report presented as a pie chart, as you can see. I could, if I wanted to, add this to a dashboard, and you can see I've got some pre-built dashboards up here, and I'll just jump into one of those in a moment. But also, one of the things that is really valued by a lot of our customers is the ability, because we capture all of the information that is contained within a customer file, including the address, you can also present reports as a map. And a really quick win with that type of thing is to see if there is competition in a certain area for a certain product or whatever it may be. So I'm just going to jump to I'm just going to reset everything for a moment and go to my customer dimension again. And I'm just going to apply the UK filter on customers. And I'm going to present this as a variance report, because what I'm interested in this scenario is seeing where there is an increase or a decrease in sales, potentially due to competition in that particular area. So I'm going to turn this report into a variance report, and I'm going to order the variance column by where we're losing sales and apply a filter of my top 10 or bottom 10 most in decline customers, let's say, and focus in on them. So here's my 10 most in decline customers in the UK. Now we've got an additional column that I've not yet touched upon, which is called properties, as you can see, and this allows me to bring in some additional information related to that customer. Who's the sales rep, for instance, or what customer type is it? But in this case, I'm going to bring in the address. So there's the address, as you can see. And now if I just flick from grid to chart, one of the options is a map option down here, and I'm going to turn this into a marker map. So there are my 10 most in decline customers since January and where they are across the country. And this is really useful for salespeople that may be traveling out on the road. They can go and visit these people. You know, if you're going somewhere in Belfast here, then there's only another customer down the road that you may want to also visit. And again, I've kind of slowed it down a little bit here, but that is the type of report that you can generate within less than a minute, and obviously then apply what you need to apply in terms of what you want to do about it. And yeah, we've obviously, with all of this information, with all of these widgets and charts that you can build, you can create some dashboards. So related to that customer analysis, what we just kind of touched upon and what salespeople might do with it, is you can see here we have something in our demo environment we've called a customer scorecard. So everything here is a report that's been created in mostly the sales database, but there's also some information around AR and AP that we can capture, things like how much they owe you, how much, and what stage that is, what's the aging period of that debt, and so on. So we can capture all of that as well and present that into a database that you can turn into widgets. But here we've got a fairly basic customer report. So this is our customers in the top left corner, sales this year, and in this case we're presenting that against the budget. So what that means is if you set targets for your customers or your salespeople or whatever it may be, you can import that information via Excel into Phocas and then set up a report that presents sales against budget in this case. And then what we've got is a sales variance widget. So that variance report can be presented as a sort of a rev counter, if you like, where you're showing sales in this period versus previous period and what that's presenting in terms of a percentage variance. We've got a map. Then we've got some KPIs, so like average value per invoice, for instance. And you'll see here that we've got an all and selected row. And what that means is, and why that's there, is that you can also apply filters like you can in a database to a dashboard. So for instance, if I want to pick one of my customers here, safety first, for instance, I can click them and then click this focus button in the top left corner. And what that does is it applies that filter onto the dashboard. So now we're looking at what that particular customer's variance is, where they're located, what that particular customer's KPIs are against the average customer of the whole, the user customer base. We then are also looking at what that particular customer are buying in terms of what products they're buying, what product groups they're buying, again, compared to the average customer in the base. We've got here a gap analysis report. So that's showing me total value of spend for that particular customer in all of my product subclasses and where there is a gap. Why aren't they buying ballasts or garden products? Really easy to find out. And maybe they just don't need them, but it also may be that they're buying them elsewhere. This is the product groups, in fact, this is the actual products that customer is buying more of compared to the previous period. But also, let's say more worryingly, what products they're buying less of compared to the previous period. And then finally, a fairly simple report. Across our entire product base, this is our top 20 products. And this is how many that particular customer buys of them, but more importantly, what they're not buying across our top 20 products. So real basic example of a customer scorecard. You can add so much more to this. There is a lot more that you can create within one of the grids, but this is just a real basic example of what's possible. We've got people creating salespeople scorecards or product group scorecards in exactly the same manner I'm really looking at here. Creating those reports, converting them into a widgets like I've shown you, and then just adding them to the dashboard. You can have plenty of different types of dashboard. We've got a couple of other examples here. So this is like a generic home screen that contains lots of information about sales, but also, customer information down here, customers that are up, customers that are down. We also have got, because Phocas has the ability to capture all of the stock information, stock on hand, you can see where you've got what your current kind of position of stock is by product groups, and also create customized reports to present things like, in this case, what stock cover you have. So a very basic example. This is showing me sales this year in total by product, and then an average over 12 months, over 6 months, over 3 months, what the current quantity we've got in stock of those products, and based on the current sales run rate, how many months worth of stock do we have of those products? So this is a real quick and easy way of establishing where you might be overstocked in certain products or product groups or whatever. And then just to take that one step further, we do have in this demo environment a stock analysis dashboard. So it's kind of taking that, extrapolating further out. So you've got stock on hand by product class, by product subclasses, by warehouses, dead stock analysis. So that's showing me products that we've got more than one in, but we've not sold for 12 months. So we've currently got £671,000 tied up in something we consider dead stock. And again, we've got these stock cover reporting down here as well. So again, you can have databases for, in this case, we've just really been looking at sales, but you've got also purchasing databases. It's the same kind of functionality, but now we're just looking at exactly that, purchasing information by supplier, by product groups, when they're due in, when they were ordered, and all of that kind of stuff. You can also use this to do things like OTIF analysis. So you can see, who your best suppliers are in terms of delivering those products on what's known as on time and in full. If you're into that kind of thing, that's also possible with Phocas as well. So yeah, the main takeaway from this is that it's a really easy to use reporting tool. You're not having to, there's not that kind of one person in the business that is kind of the fall guy, let's say, when they're coming to exporting Excels, creating reports. It's all really easy to use. And as I say, the main purpose of this is to kind of put data in the hands of the people that need it, that make those decisions, that really want to establish what's going on in the business. So that probably brings me to an end. So I'll hand back to you, Daniel.
Thank you very much. And I really hope it did come across and how powerful and easy to use our solutions are. We have pre-built content packs for the most common ERPs, and Sage 5200 and the other Sage products are included within that. Those content packs contain the standard databases that we would normally pull through, the format of which they come through in, and then a series of dashboards that we think you'd find particularly beneficial to use. And that's normally going to facilitate 80–90% of the needs that we know you've got. There's always that little bit of extra, which is going to be customizable to your sort of end requirements. And our solution consultants will go through exactly what your requirements are as part of that journey. If you are currently spending a lot of time going through, extracting the data, cleansing the data, and presenting it instead of looking at what the data means and making insightful changes to your organization, I urge you to think about your current position. That's where we really come in and where we're particularly strong. Our customers truly do love us. We've got now just over 3,500 customers globally. And in our recent BARC survey, we came on top, I think, in 27 different categories in comparison to our competitors out there. And as I think you'll see, we are very different to some of the competitors out there. We're not creating an industry for somebody else to charge you every time you want a report created. We're giving you the ability to be able to develop it and customize it to your own requirements really quickly and easily. We've also got an offer on for anyone who's an EBS customer or anyone who's interested in being an EBS customer, where we can run a try-buy campaign for you. So that is, try it. We'll connect it into your data. We'll show it how powerful it can be. We'll have a chat with you about your exact requirements before we do so. And then you'll have the ability to run through it over a course of a 2-week period and just see what insights it's generating for your organization. No obligation, there's no cost on this either. All we want to do is just show you how powerful it would be for your organization and show you how easy it is and intuitive it is to use. So if you'd like to do so, feel free to scan the QR code. There is a document that you can complete, then it'll come through to our team and we'll arrange an initial meeting to discuss that. Equally, speak to Darren and the team at EBS. You might have specific requirements. And if you're looking at taking in data from other sources as well, there are some things that we can do on that front also. We are going to be attending the EBS customer events coming up in July. So we really urge you, if you're not on the list already, please make sure you're going. We have something exciting to announce as part of that as well, which will enable you to bring in further data around manufacturing and other aspects to add to the insights that we're providing. Thank you for your time today. I'll hand you back to Darren.
Thank you, Daniel, and thanks to Paul as well. There are a few questions actually that we've got.
Let's go for it.
So how is Phocas licensed?
So we are on a software as a service subscription model, and it's based on user licenses. So there are 2 variants that we have. One, which is kind of full access and admin rights, but we can restrict people's usage on that, but it gives them the ability to drill down into the data, create dashboards and have real flexibility. And then we have a low cost viewer license model as well. So if you just want to present data to somebody or have it displayed nice and quickly and easily, we've got the ability to have a much lower price point to allow people to do that as well. And we normally find in your average organization, there's probably about, depending on the scale and size, but there's a handful of people who want access to everything because they're going to be drilling down through the data and then presenting it. And then there's normally a handful of people who just want to see the insights and understand what they should be doing off the back of that. So that combination works normally rather well. And it's a monthly subscription model.
Okay, that's great. Here's another one. Can the information be restricted for teams or users?
Certainly can. Yeah, that's one of the big things that we have. So we've got the ability to restrict it right down to the nth degree. So it doesn't matter if it's a particular database or a particular customer, particular region. So for example, the most common one that we come across is salespeople. Salespeople, you want to just give them insights into their particular customer bucket, as it were. So in which case we can restrict that down, just give them insights into that, and they know exactly how they're tracking. They don't need to know about everyone else, but equally you've got the sales manager who's got access to then everyone's information to be able to share that. Equally, there might be other areas of the business, for example, like manufacturing don't necessarily want to understand about sales, but they want to understand about their stock on hand or how the machines are operating or things along those lines. And again, we can restrict that down to certain individuals right down to that end user.
Perfect. I think that's about it. Oh, there's one more there. So the data is generally refreshed overnight. Can it be refreshed more often than that, particularly at month end?
It can. So it depends on, we normally find it depends on the type of data to the frequency in which you want to have it refreshed. So it's financial data. When you commit to the month end, you've got the ability of pulling it through more frequently, and there's a click of a button just to be able to do so, or we can schedule it to happen more frequently if you wish to do so. And again, it depends on the operation in each organization to how frequently they do it. All we do is we recommend at least an overnight pass of data, because that then ensures that you're up to date with the information you're being presented with. But then if you wish to have it hourly, down sort of 20 minutes or so every time, we can do that as well. And that's normally something we discuss as part of that scoping phase to work out exactly what the requirements are, but it's flexible enough that it can be changed quickly and easily as well.
Perfect. Okay. We don't have any other questions. I'd just like to pick up on what you mentioned about our event. So that's at the Moore Hall Hotel, which is quite close to our offices in Sutton. It's on the 12th of July. If you haven't registered, if you go to our website at ebs.tech, that's TECH, you'll find the registration pages there for it. Places are limited, so I'd advise you to do that sort of sooner rather than later. So if there's... Sorry, carry on.
I was going to say, we're looking forward to seeing people there. So we're going to be there as well. We're really looking forward to meeting as many people who work with EBS as we can. You'll have the ability to be able to talk to some of our solutions guys about the solution itself and maybe meeting the specific requirements that you have. And equally, I can't encourage enough people to go. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic event.
Thanks for that. So as I said earlier, we have recorded this session and it will be posted onto our YouTube channel in the next couple of days or so, and we'll send the links out to you all. Thanks for your time, Daniel and Paul, and thanks for all of your time, the people that are watching, basically. We'll see you again. Yeah, we'll see you again soon. Take care.